if we want to start with the spiral model, first with the requirements registration, which is meant for the collection of data. Start with the data, then requirements registration, then system requirements registration, collection of all these things, then we'll be going to do the activity on that. Then specification, requirement specifications, business specification is different, user specification is different, then system specification is different. Okay, all these modeling of that particular system, okay, that you have to make it, which comes under the requirement specifications. Then we have requirements validation. Once everything is been done, that is nothing but a collection is done and model is ready, and you have to validate it. You have to check that whether it is going to be correct or not. Feasibility study, that you will be going to provide, means whatever that input is going to be given, whether it is going to be accepted properly or not. Then prototyping of that, means similar way that it is going to get the big manner that it can be able to provide the information. Okay, prototyping is going to be done. It is usually done in the case of hardware products. Okay, prototype is going to be done, then after only the actual implementation is going to be taking place. 1:10, 1:5, that area, that the information is going to be gathered. Then reviews are going to be taken for the system requirements document. So finally it comes under that all these things are going to be executed properly, and it is under the purview of the customer, okay, who is the user. That so he is going to give his reviews on their particular product. So these things are going to be reviewed by the requirements engineering processes. That's what has been discussed in this. Okay. So as requirements registration, it deals with 4 points here: discovery, classification and organization, prioritization and negotiation, and specification. This all comes under the specification only. Okay. So individually that it is going to be checked for the collection of the data finally. Okay. So you'll be going to do the classification, organizational classification, that you'll be going to do, then discovery of the data, that you'll be going to make it, then prioritization of the data, and negotiation of that product. Okay. So requirements are going to be more in that. Okay. And finally the specification is going to be collected for all these things. Okay. So previous data is going to be there, then those things are going to be get considered for that. Then negotiation of the requirements is nothing but prioritization and negotiation. Here what happens basically is data is going to be there, and you'll be going to whether it is going to be considered or not, that it will be going to take, because requirements, as per the requirements, the data is going to be collected and the output you will be going to get. So your requirements is different and the output is going to be different, means you'll not be able to get the proper answer. So the specification is must. So that's why you'll be going to consider with the stakeholders, the data is going to get collected properly and it should be documented. Okay. So that's what it is being said in this requirements registration and analysis process, how it is getting analyzed: discovery, requirements classification and organization, requirement prioritization, negotiation, and requirement specification. All the 4 are going to be important concepts of the requirements for that. So how you will be going to discover the errors or discover the data, then how you will be going to classify that one, the collected data, how you will be going to classify it, and in the organization way, different organizations are going there, and how will be the data is going to be classified. Whenever that you will be going for some university levels, if you consider for the organizations like university, so it is going to have different branches, different environments, different colleges in the different areas. So the classification has to be made. So okay, then data is going to get collected, and requires prioritization separately, that individual departments that you will be going to make prioritization, and you can able to negotiate with the requirements. Then specification of all the data is going to be must, and clear-cut information should be there in that. If you are going to make any mistakes in the requirement specification, it leads to the error, or we can have the faults are going to be more in that. So based on the specification, whatever that you have been given, that is going to get considered for the application development. It's what inside in this. Okay, next is interviewing, how the collection is going to be made. Data is getting collected basically by interviews. So there's a formal or informal interviews are going to be taken with the stakeholders for the requirements engineering process. Or there are different types of interviews are there. Closed interviews and open interviews. The closed interviews, we have predefined list of questions. Okay, so these are the requirements, so you should have the answers for all these things. In the open environment, open interviews, exposed to the stakeholders, there are so many different questions that it is going to be available at the time. Okay, those things are going to be answered for that. So the data can be collected by two formats. Okay, one is closed interviews and another is open interviews. Effective interviewing, so always it should be open-minded. Always the stakeholders or the listeners, so they have to be open-minded, and they have to accept that ideas, and they should be get implemented even with the developer as well as stakeholders. So it is going to be, usually interviews are going to be in the both, okay, closed as well as open-minded interviews are going to be there. Then it's a good for overall understanding of the problem, that it can be accepted. And always you should have open-minded, okay, pre-considered ideas already existing is there, that only with that will be going to use it. You should not tell like that. Okay, so you should accept the new environment, new things, that it can get adapted with that. Then we have the suggestions that should be given. The good suggestions are going to get accepted by the customer, and he should adapt with the system. Okay, that is the use of the interview. Sometimes what happens, problems are also going to be there, which they will be going to use so many open-minded questions are going to be there if it is. Okay. Then at the time n number of questions are going to come, n number of inputs are going to appear, then which it is very difficult to manage things, which it is difficult to act on that particular inputs. Okay, so it should be understood by some way of understanding should be there between the user and the developer. The ethnography, so this is one of the concept. Usually it is going to be studies, ethnographic studies have shown that work is usually richer and more complex than suggested by simple methods. So whenever that you'll be going to use for the applications, it is not easy task it is going to be, because whenever that applications are going to be there, big applications are going to be there, last time that it is being used like that, and we can able to use it now also, we cannot say like that. Only thing is that particular things are going to be, or organizations, and there are so many implications are going to be there, like social media, then organization situations, so they will be going to affect, okay, or the importance has to be taken, observed by the developer, and based on that it can be executed. So here the scope of this is requirements that is delivered or derived from whatever the people are going there. They will be going to have a lot of things, and will come to one conclusion, that is some definitions are going to get collected, and we will going to give some suggestions to that particular outcome of that particular work. So that is the best way of organizing the activities. Then it is sometimes it is going to be effective for understanding the existing system also, and sometimes it is going to be very difficult to